Hey there, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living and adventure. I've been looking forward to doing this cash stuffing video, mostly because I'm really desperate just to talk to you guys and get your thoughts on a dilemma that I'm having. We've made a big decision quite quickly, off the cuff. It feels like we didn't really think about it as much as we should have. And it's kind of one of those situations where the grass is perhaps greener on the other side, and then you get there and you're like, maybe it's not. Maybe the things I was hoping for are just kind of in my head rather than the reality. Or maybe I could have made them happen where I was rather than having to go somewhere new to achieve that. So what I'm talking about is changing a child's school. Changing a child's school without any really good reason. Like, it wasn't like there was bullying or we didn't like the teachers or anything like that. I think we talked a little bit, it's about opportunities. Moving from a school that is probably a wee bit under-resourced, but still holding its own. Like, it's a perfectly fine school, up until these last holidays, hadn't really crossed my mind to change it. So, generally happy there. Not so much extra kind of stuff available. Like, it's not like in Christchurch, there's a lot of wealthy schools and they do all sorts of, really cool but expensive things. The school didn't have that, but it covered all the basics fine. And that was great. I was happy with that. They recognise each student as an individual and they're really caring teachers and their exam results are pretty good, all that kind of stuff. So generally pretty happy. An opportunity came up kind of randomly during the holidays when we had put in for schools. We hadn't got our first pick for one of our kids. We got the second pick, so that was fine. All of a sudden, an opportunity came up to take the first pick. And we were like, oh crikey, we've settled in this here, but now we've got this opportunity. What do we do? So we went along, we met with the school, and the school does look the business, it's well resourced. We're moving from decile 4 to decile 9, so that doesn't mean anything related at all to how well the school does. That just means the wealth of the parents who go there. That's all it is. But along with that often comes different opportunities and resources that are available to the school because of that. So this other school has, ticks all the boxes as far as every opportunity you could ever wish for your child. So on one hand, we've got this thing that's like, wow, if you want to try X, Y, Z, you can do that. You can have in-school tutoring for subjects that maybe you struggle with. That wasn't available at the other school. But over here at the other school, you've got a really great community feel. You've got teachers who really care and respect your kid as an individual. Here, you're probably just more of a number. There was all sorts of things. The problem was we had to make this decision in 2 days. That's how long, the kind of space stayed open for. And of course, our child was involved in this decision and also chose. If they had said, no, I don't want to do that, then we wouldn't have gone any further. But they said yes. My husband was really into it. I'm the one that's struggling, thinking maybe it's not the right decision. So that's what we did. We said yes. And without being able to really tie things off nice and tidily at the other end, it was just kind of like this quick, random, unexpected decision that I imagine has really hurt the feelings of some other people, which is making me very, very sad. And I'm not quite sure how I can kind of make that better. That's something I'm, struggling with. But just in general, I just do not know. Honestly, I just could not tell you if we've made the right decision or not. And it's the first time in decades I've been left with this feeling in my stomach that I've done the wrong thing. And I think a lot of that is because the decision does not support my values. Like, this decision is nothing about equity. This is the kind of decision that grows a gap in society, you know, between people who can do this thing and people who can't. And yeah, I just have a sick feeling in my stomach since the day we made the decision, and it is not going away. So I don't know what the right thing to do is. You know, can you undo it? Do I want to undo it? You know, am I being silly? I don't know. I really don't know. So if you have any thoughts, please feel free to write them down below. Please be gentle with me though if you have something negative to say. Try and cushion it in a nice way, because I'm, definitely feeling very sad at the moment. It also has huge financial implications because there is more of a cost related to it, not just with going to the school, but also the extracurricular activities. Like, for example, one of the things both of my kids want to try is rowing. Okay, well, that sounds fun in theory, doesn't it? But rowing costs around $5,000 a year. So, you know, if you want to pick a sport that excludes a huge number of people, rowing's it, right? So even that I struggle with. Like, I think, how is, you know, is it even right to give children, so I'm just going to move that because it's a little bit skew with, you know, like, is it even right to give children this opportunity for this, I don't know how else to say it, but like this kind of really snobby sport? And I can give them the opportunity. It means I'm going to have to rejig some stuff. I really wasn't planning on spending $10,000 on extracurricular activities. I can tell you that for nothing. But the fact that I can do it, is it right to do it? This is what I'm struggling with. Like, is it, you know, my parents would have absolutely given me every opportunity, and they did. My parents were working class people. I grew up in a, you know, beginning was a state house, and then my parents bought it, it became next state house, but very modest, I guess, surroundings, but they put all their money and energy into helping me and my siblings, you know, have great opportunities that they never had. So I did have, you know, I had school trips overseas, I had an exchange, I played tons of sport, you know, I never wanted for any material things, my parents were very involved, all that kind of stuff. So I know they would, if they had that decision in front of them, you know, they would make this decision to move. But I guess I've been someone who's benefited so much from having a more equitable society, that doing something that makes it less equitable doesn't sit well, and I don't know how to reconcile those things. So that's me, that's where I'm at. It's been tough. I don't know, you might listen to this and just go, oh gosh, get over yourself. And sometimes I think that about myself too, but that is how I feel. So in the interest of keeping things real at NZ Money Karma, I just thought I'd let you know where I'm at, what I'm doing, and then let's move over to this week's failure. So in order to enable some of these changes, I am knocking the $5,000 savings challenge on the head. It's too big, I'm not going to be able to do it. I've got too many competing priorities. And yeah, really, I'm just trying to think, okay, a little bit like, what would my parents do? What would my mum do? What would, you know, and she would just go, okay, that's cool. You know, we've made this decision as a family. We're going to move on. We're going to do this thing. Let's do it. Dry your tears. There's a good saying which I love, and it says, daughter, don't grow a wishbone where your backbone needs to be. So I try and remind myself of that also. I feel very mad that in New Zealand, not every kid can have all the chances that I'm going to give my kid. And I just think it's really wrong. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. You're probably seeing the gap grow wherever you are. If you're watching in New Zealand or Australia or the UK or the US, you'll be watching it as well and go from, you know, if you're around my age, 48, you know, I had one kind of childhood. that childhood, if I was that kid today, I would not be where I am now, because there would be so many systems stacked against me that wouldn't have helped my parents get into a house. You know, sort of gone, oh, well, it's your own fault. You're young and don't have good jobs. Bad luck. You know, it wouldn't have been possible for my mum to stay at home with us, which she did for a good portion of our, you know, early lives, and then went to work part-time. That wouldn't have been possible for the kind of jobs, manual labour jobs that they had. And that's what it's like now. So there's all these kids missing out who were really in a similar situation to what I was in. I don't want to be the kind of person that kind of gets ahead in life or gets really comfortable and then quickly whips away the ladder from people and is like, oh, well, as long as I'm sorted, that's all right. You know, because it's not all right. I don't know what to do, but I really want to do something. I was almost thinking the other day I should quit my current job and go teaching. I'm not a teacher. I'd have to go back to university for a year, but it's possible. I was just like, what do you do? What do you do? Where do you do it? I work in healthcare, and I feel like it makes absolutely no difference at all. No more good feelings related to that, because it just feels like, yeah, it just doesn't feel like it is changing anything. My goodness, what did I just do with all that money? Did I put it here? Well, I guess I should count it up. I already had some 50s there though, and I've gone and put them all away. So I took $600 out of the bank. Sorry, it was quite the rant. If you're still here at 11 minutes and 41 seconds or whatever, thank you. We're going to cash stuff and put some money in envelopes. I had $20 left over from last week's shop. I have already spent my shopping money for this week, but I do need to go and get Sard soap and some Weet-Bix. So I'm going to keep that $10 away and just leave it there. So let's see, what have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, $1,300 there. So 13, 14, 15, 60, 15, 70, sorry. So $1,570. Now, I won't be changing anything inside this. So this, I'm just going to carry on with my gold coins, and I'll count it up at the end of the year. And this challenge here, I'll just continue with my silver and brown coins and count that up at the end of the year. So all is not lost, but yeah, just trying to be a little bit realistic about where we're at as a family, and just reorientate really. Like reorientate back to, you know, just doing the best for the kids, I guess, that you can on the day. And put this $10 straight into food, so at least that's sorted. We've had to break into our emergency fund this week. I'll go through that in my end of, oh crikey, I'll have to do that for my end of April roundup, what we spent. But yeah, we've had some car problems and a bit of a vacuum cleaner issue, so watch that space. I'm grateful that we have a good buffer, because if I was just living on this and had no buffer, we would really have our head below water this week. So I'm grateful for that. Okie doke, so petrol, I'm just going to go through and stuff like the normal money that I was going to do, and then sort out the kind of extra. So I was going to do $50 into petrol, nothing into garden this week. I was just going to put $10 into tickets. So that's not actually meant to be for like transport tickets, but that's just all the money I had. This here is going to be, you know, I'll just build it up and then we'll have enough money for something like going to the movies together. Oops. And the kids are going to get $40 all up, so that's $10 per week per child for pocket money. It is so rainy. One of my children went out and did a paper run yesterday morning when it was just torrential rain. My other child, who's less keen on doing the paper run, I said I would help this afternoon after school, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed that I don't have to do it in my wet weather gear. Now I went through these binders and just tried to make it a little bit more like what's my priority, and focus on that. Oh, you would have also noticed probably in here, you know how I was saving money for something special for myself? It's gone. The wishbone is gone, replaced by the backbone, in order to cover the costs that we had this last week that were unexpected. So, c'est la vie. Shoes. I've had to chuck out a pair of shoes this week for one of my children because they were just literally falling apart, and I spent $20 on repairing school shoes at Mr. Minute. So that was just getting the sole glued back on, which is kind of annoying because they're only a year old and they were about $150, so they weren't cheap shoes. And already, I mean, they do get worn every day and not particularly, what would you say, like he's not gentle on his shoes per se, but yeah, having to repair them was a bit of a bummer. So there's $20. I wouldn't say they'd last another year. I think I'll have to buy another pair. But for today, the shoes that I actually chucked out were a pair of casual trainers, and they are going to need to be replaced. So that's $140. I'm hoping that will be enough to do that. He has got some other sneakers, so it's not like he's going around just wearing his school shoes on the weekend or anything. But we will go and have a look this weekend. Dentist is just going to get $20. I might just swap this out, put in that so it's all replaced, and then do the 20. So the dentist has got $220. And the optometrist needs a good amount of money, $175. And how did I come up with $175? Well, I need $300, so I'm just going to put that back there. I'm going to take my 300, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So that was $175. All what I'm stuffing now was all within my budget of $600. So I'm taking care of the basics with my $600. And then I'll worry about those big bills, which I haven't kind of got on top of at the end. So I'm just going through, I've written it out. I don't always write out a written budget, but I've done that this time because it's all getting a little bit complicated. I'm just going to put $10 in for sports. Giving's going to get 20. So that's at 90. That's all right. We're not quite on track with that. I kind of need 150 by the middle of the year, but I'm not too far off that, so I'm feeling okay about it. For birthdays, I'm on to birthday number 2, which is at the end of July, so I've got a wee way. I have spent $50. I also took $30 out of here to pay for another cost, like a big, expensive, unexpected cost. So I could have taken that straight from my emergency fund, but I think try and make it work. Like, I really want to see if I can make stuff work on this tiny amount of money, not to be tight or like put myself under undue stress, but just because this is normal life for heaps of people. So if you've got a mortgage and you're paying that, or you're paying rent, having $40,000 left over is probably pretty normal. And I just want to show that it's possible, you know, that if we kind of are willing to do it, it is possible. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. I don't know if it is or not. We'll see. I mean, we live on it, so it must be, right? So for birthday, I'm just going to give $25. So I'll put that back and take a 50. So now I've got 55. So I will need another 150, and then that's complete. Or 145. And then last, I'm going to to take that out because I need to make a new label for that. And that will remind me to do so. So this is for my husband's travel. So he goes away 1 week out of every month, and we also had to take that money out of our savings because I had forgotten, because he was off with his following an operation for so long. I kind of just forgot that we had to pay for that. So that's what that is, all done and dusted. So now I'm on to my last binder. So this is, I guess if I could only stuff 2 binders, it would be these 2. I went through, I did all the envelopes, and I went, okay, if that's all I had, that's what I'm spending. So I've spent the majority of the money here. So I've spent $500 in these 2 today, and if you put it in groceries, then that'll be $700, leaving me just the $100 for this binder here. So what do we got? Doctor, I'm just going to put in 10. So I've got 80, that will make it 90. I've got Rego and Warrant is just going to be getting 5. I also took $100 out of here for a cost that I wasn't expecting, right? So what have I got? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 150, 60, 75. What did I say I was going to put in there? So I'm not going to put in anything. Oh no, $5. Put that back and take a 10. And maybe put those back and take a 20. And then let's just see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'll take 2 50s. So the Warrant and Rego will be paid for already out of this money. But there's always going to be something you need to fix, isn't there? So that's the thing that isn't kind of accounted for here. And dog food, we've got heaps of dog food, so it's not, he doesn't need anything imminently. I'll put that back and just take a 10 because I'm only putting in 5. So that's 35, and that's enough for raw meat for him. Like I can go and buy a big bulk bag of raw meat. And we've got an 8 kg bag of dog biscuits that we're making our way through. And I also, like if I had leftover soup, I would just feed him dog biscuits. Like dog biscuits with, you know, I'd warm up some soup and put that over the top. But normally he would get some veggies, some raw meat and some rice. And sometimes a few biscuits just to make it a bit crunchy. Fun Money is getting $10. And I've already got 30. So let's just take one of those. So that's all right. I was thinking I need to reorientate this money for school holiday fund. I heard that on someone else's channel and I was like, yes, I need school holiday fund. Well, in fact, most cash stuffers that have kids have an envelope for school holiday fund, which I haven't really thought of. I think it goes back to being a homeschooler where like life is just fun. You know, you don't need to have a special fund for it. It's just what you do. We did go away these last school holidays. We had a night away, but that came out of our travel sinking fund online. And we spent $500, I think it was, for our one night. We stayed in a hotel. We went out for tea. We did one expensive kind of touristy activity and put some petrol in the car. I took my food apart from the dinner out, so it wasn't, you know, it could have been worse, but it felt spendy. It felt very easy also, I have to admit that. So this one here, I'm going to try and remember that this is for school holiday fund. So we'll use our ticket money that's in the other binder, you know, for going out and about and doing things here. Fun, I'm going to build up for the next school holidays. Tech, I probably should have taken vacuum cleaner money out of tech as well, but I actually need to start working on this a little bit more. So I'm going to just make that 50. I think I'm going to need to buy a printer. We don't have a printer at home, but it keeps coming up as things for school that maybe need to be printed, and then I'm going to the library and printing it off, or maybe trying to do it at work, that kind of thing, and it's just, you know, a bit of a pain. So maybe we'll get a printer. I don't know for sure. Dog groom is going to get $10. So that's over halfway, and that's fine. We're on track for that. I need $40 more, and then that will be done. Our bikes are getting $5, so that would make that an even 50. And then this is just another sports cost, getting $5. Also not needed imminently, so it's fine, just to happy to tick along with that. So 35 in there. I think I probably need 50. Don't know why I read nothing left, why I've written nothing left on that note. Maybe I also took some money out of here for the vacuum cleaner. Who knows? I really can't remember. But anyway, I've got $100 there. Christmas is a long way away, but only in May. So I don't think I had allocated anything, but I'll just give $5 seeing as I'm here. 105. We've got most of the little kids sorted. Dental hygienist, I'm sorted with. I'm going to use all these 5 though, because we've got them. I don't want to be stuffing them for the big thing, so we'll just put 5 in there. Clothes. My kids grow really fast. I'm really short. I never really grew much at all. But they grow quick, so I'm going to have to pay more money for that. So there is just $30 in there. I'm going to change that and make it a 50. Easter has been and gone. And there was $20 left over. There's $20 and some change, but that's already gone back into those changes. So $20 here. Let's just, I think I'm actually alright for the vet. I don't feel the need to stuff that too much. So there's 150 there. So the next public holiday in New Zealand will be Matariki. We celebrate solstice in our family, but that's normally something we can just cover with grocery money because it's all just kind of dinner related. You know, like I'll make some mulled wine or some spicy apple kind of drinks for the kids, and we barbecue some, or not barbecue, we put some sausages on sticks and cook them outside on a campfire. That's how we celebrate that holiday. So apart from Christmas, I can't think that there's too much else to do. So in the interest of doing things that are for fun, I'm just going to go, where's the birthday one? Oh, birthday's in blue. I'm just going to go back and stuff into the birthday. So have you guys had any, I guess, ethical dilemmas, like where you're maybe just not living out your values as you would wish, you know, for a variety of reasons, whether or not that's economic, whether or not you feel like you can't afford to make the decisions you'd like to make, or, you know, for other reasons, because of family pressure or kid pressure or anything like that. I'd love to hear from you. Or am I just uniquely in this position where I feel like, I just don't know what to do. I've made a choice and now having to live with the regret of that. Although my husband does keep coming and saying it's like, it's not unfixable, we can change it. But I feel like once you've made it, if you flip-flop back, to me that feels like a terrible thing to do. But that could just be my mindset. You know, like maybe that's just the way I've been brought up. Like you make your decision, you know, make your bed, you lie in it kind of style. So please let me know if you have a different point of view. You know, is it okay to chop and change? Do you give something a good try for some months? And if you think, actually, it's not for me, go back. Kind of like a job, right? Like maybe you get offered a job and you think, that looks better, but there's nothing inherently wrong with the job you have. You know, maybe you're not 100% loving it, but maybe you're 80% liking it fine, but you think, this is an option for 95%, maybe I'll go with that. And then you do it and you're like, I didn't know how good I had it, this was actually the better option. Can you go back? I've done that once with a job. I have gone back, I've rung them and eaten humble pie and just said, I've made a really big mistake. Is it possible for me to come back? And they actually went, that would be wonderful, we'd love that. We thought you were making a mistake too. So I guess sometimes you eat humble pie, it pays off, but let's wait and see. So let's have a quick look here and see how much I have left. So remember now, I've got 2 big expenses. I'm going to start putting some money aside for school fees here in cash, because last year I was really good at doing that and it paid off. It had meant that, you know, paying school fees, they were all sitting there by the 1st of January or before the kids started school, so it was not stressful at all. In order to do that, I've written it down over here how much I would need. Let's just see what I've got left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, so I've got 9, 50, 60, 70, 970. That makes sense. I've obviously spent exactly what I was meant to there. So for me to make the school fees work for next year means I need to start saving $83 a week. So that's going to be 160, 166. So let's make that one, I might just make it 165. So 165, done, that's for school fees. So I'm just going to cross that out. I have to dig out some more envelopes. I don't even know if I have any more of those. I've got so many different options. So school fees in there, and I will sort that out into a better, I don't know, some kind of better method. And well, what can I say about the potential for rowing? If I need $10,000 and I've got these 23 weeks until rowing starts, watch, just hang on 2 ticks and I'll jump out and see how much I need to save. Okay, back again. I actually just jumped on the website for both of my kids' schools and just Googled how much will rowing cost, and they have a range of prices from $3,000 to $5,000. I think because they would be at the beginning of the sport, it's going to be closer to the lower end, because they're not going to go away for all these tournaments, and they have, I mean, it is a bit silly, like they have all these training camps. It's like they're elite athletes, but they're like a group of school kids. But anyway, I've split the difference and gone, okay, what if it's $4,000 for each kid? Because $10,000 I absolutely cannot save in this. I would have to give up. I would have to give up on my budget, and I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to do that for me, and I'm not ready to do that for you, because, you know, maybe you have a kid who wants to do something. It might not be rowing, it might be dance, or, you know, there's any number of things, right, that cost a lot of money with kids. And it feels really rubbish to say no. I'm happy to say no about a lot of things, but because my parents gave me, you know, like literally every opportunity that came my way, they somehow made it work. My mum was very good with money. They didn't have a huge income. My dad drove a truck, and my mum didn't used to drive a truck. She used to be a secretary, but she ended up learning how to drive a truck, and they both drove trucks, right? So it wasn't like huge money. but she made it work. Like we always had good food, we always had a warm house. It was a very simple house, but it was always warm. They would spend all summer chopping wood, so we had wood for winter. Any idea I ever had, they helped me make it happen. I was 13 when I said I'd like to go on a student exchange because I'd had a friend whose sister had done it. That friend, because New Zealand used to be a lot more egalitarian, the friends and the schools that you went to, everyone was really quite diverse. So my parents were low income earners, but I also had friends whose parents were very high income earners, and it was these friends whose sister had done it, and I was like, ooh, that sounds amazing. She'd been to Honduras. I was like, that sounds so cool. I'd love to do that. So I made that my goal from third form onwards. And my parents, I couldn't have done it unless they were behind me. They said, you save your spending money for that year and we'll sort the rest out. And they did. So they started saving right from when I was 13 years old until I was 17 and did that to help make it happen. So with that kind of example, I would feel very remiss if I didn't do the same for my kids. Okay, so I need 347. That's a week. I'm going to have to do something with the online banking, aren't I? I'm not going to be able to pay as much money into our travel fund or into our house maintenance, because that is looking like a very impossible goal with this money here. Okay, so I've got $800 each week to spend, and this is telling me that 347 of that is going to have to go towards a kid's sport. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? I mean, I don't know what to do with that. Maybe pick up an extra day's work. I could do that. That's a solution, isn't it? Earn more money. For today, what am I going to do? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to stuff that all in school fees, an extra $500. So 5, 6, 7. I will ponder the budget, and I'll have to get back to you guys next time because I don't have a solution for trying to come up with $347 for 2 children to have a go at this sport. They've been talking about it for a long time and I've been really encouraging them. I'm kind of regretting that now and thinking maybe I should have got them into tennis or something. But anyway, leave it with me. I feel like where there's a will, there's a way. I'm bound to be able to figure it out, but I just can't figure it out right this second. So what else have I got left? 100, 200, 250. I'm just going to stuff it all in school fees. What I really want to do is I want to take some and go and do something nice with it and make myself feel better. But that will not get me where I want to go. It won't get my family where I want them to go, will it? So I'm just going to whiz back through these binders and just see if there's anything else I can add to make the week ahead a little bit easier. I didn't put anything in garden, so I'll do that. I'm trying to invest heavily in garden because that's where we grow a lot of our food. I would love to add some chickens to our life this year. Yeah, that would be cool, wouldn't it? And that is also going to require, we're building a fence at the moment, an external fence that helps make this goal happen, but then it's also going to require an internal fence. And my husband, he doesn't mind getting chickens. We've had them before, but it was when we lived on a big lifestyle block and they weren't kind of in the backyard, they were in a paddock. And whilst they did make their way up to the house every day, come up, poo on the deck, dig up my garden and then go back home at night time. These ones would be contained with a little fence in our kind of orchard area, and that fence will have to look nice. For everyone in the house to be happy with having chickens, it's going to have to look kind of pretty. So some of this money is also going to be used for the fence for that. I was previously thinking that I would take it out of home maintenance, but we're going to empty that account. Like in the next couple of months, it's going to be gone. We will have zero in there by the time we've sorted the fence and got some double glazing done. So not expecting to be able to do that. It's going to have to be saved for. Now we've got tickets here. I've got $10. I'll make that 15. If we were going to go to the movies, it would definitely have to be like a $10 special. Sometimes they have $10 specials. I'm hoping $140 is enough for shoes. Did I put anything in dentist? I don't think I did. Oh, I did. I put $20 in dentist. Optometrist, I should be okay. The kids have both got an eye appointment for next weekend. Eye appointments in New Zealand are free for under 16s, but you still have to pay for their glasses. Last time I bought glasses for one of my children, it cost $800. This will be a lesson for my kids in that we just don't have endless money, because all the other expenses that we have, the glasses you can get 2 pairs for $2.99, and they're not like NHS glasses or anything like that. They're not terrible. My glasses that I wear, they're from that $2.99 range. Anyway, they're not terrible glasses is my point. They are perfectly nice. They will look trendy. They will look good. They will feel comfortable, but they won't cost $800. They're going to cost $2.99, and I'm hoping there'll be one pair of normal glasses and a pair of sunglasses. So 2 pairs for that price, and that's there. Only one of my children wears glasses, but if for some reason the other child, has her eye test and they're like, you have to have glasses, then obviously I'm going to take that money from somewhere else. Both children will get glasses if they require it. Sports. Maybe this is where I should start putting some rowing money. What I'm thinking is I might end up cash kind of stuffing into my online accounts less money and putting more in, bringing more cash here. So maybe $300 online and just see how well I do. And then giving sorted and birthday, we're kind of a bit on track with that. Okay. Thanks guys so much for listening. I know it's been a really long one. It's been a bit of a rambly one. It's been a little bit everything's up in the air one. Okie doke. Thanks so much guys for watching, and I look forward to catching up with you next time. Hopefully everything's in a bit of a better place for us and our whare by then. Okay, take care. Bye for now.